I would say the one gig that stands out when you said like gig disasters, I was doing a VFW room, Veterans of Foreign Wars, and deep in Brooklyn, and the host, basically a woman had a heart attack. Somehow that happened, and nobody, what's weird is like nobody noticed, but an ambulance was called. Like she was propped up at her table, an ambulance was called, and the host was on. The first comic was like doing his set. Then they try to bring this stretcher in. They the doors open and a stretcher's coming in, and the host doesn't skip a beat. He just brings me up, and I'm standing there, and the stretcher's coming in, and I was like, I think I'm gonna wait. I think I should. So I just put the mic back and just leave the stage, And then we watch this grandma get stripped to a gurney and wheeled out, and then the show starts over, and I get up there I think I'm having deja vu, but it was ridiculous. They were like, no, we're gonna keep doing it for the ones that are breathing. I was trying to think of something to say about this. I guess it's like spreading peanut butter on toast, but the knife is in your back.
There are comedians everywhere.
No, definitely not a nice community. Because comics are I know you didn't ask me this already, but comics are like cockroaches. You step on one and a million more appear, and they each have their own personality, but most of them are either sycophants or psychopaths, and then there's maybe 5 of them who actually want to do the art form, And that's being generous. When I say 5, it's probably more like 4.5. Yeah, so I wouldn't call it a nice community. That doesn't mean it's not fun, to be around. You never know what's going to happen, but I think when you find your people, stay close with them, because clawing your way to the top isn't going to get you anywhere. You're going to be very lonely there. So when you find your people that are good people in this community,
The circuit is an interesting place because you have different ranks of comedians within the circuit. There are comedians who are just starting out, new comics, don't know what's happening in the world. And then you've got the people that have been going for a while who are trying to get established. And that's an interesting place because it feels like it's a circus of lions, and everyone's just it's a dog eat dog world, but everyone's got to fend for themselves kind of vibe.
It's those kind of lines that you hear a lot. I would say so I'm single, but I say that I'm single. I say that I'm single, and I do that shit, and I talk about dating and relationships and stuff. But I think it's but that's a really common theme, is to be I'm single, but then what's your take on it? How are you then saying it differently? Are you just saying the same thing that everyone else is saying? Or me, and what I'm talking about right now is yeah, I'm single, but I'm talking about how my therapy that I've been in for the last year has really impacted how I date and the types of people I'm dating and all of those things. But it's all sort of personal to me and my therapy, but it is revolving around being single, because are those common themes around that are just, you're gonna be talking about relationships and dating and sex, because people love hearing that too, right? Especially at comedy clubs on a Friday and Saturday night. It's so relatable, especially when people are with their friends, out on stag do's, there's hen parties, there's they just want to go out, and sex and dating is such a relatable thing in relationships that it's such just this commonality that there is going to be some overlap of jokes, but again, it's what's your take and what makes your take authentic to you and therefore different from other people.
If you're a good comic, you will just be individual and have your own take on an idea. You don't have to nick someone's joke about it. There are people that you see that you're you're trying to impersonate another comic, or you're trying to act like another comic, normally quite famous comics, and you're just just be yourself. And I feel like a lot of new comics don't have that kind of understanding that you need to have time to grow as a comic so you can figure out who you are as a comic before you can really get an identity.
My thought, so it's how I process things that happen to me in my life is by speaking about them. That's what I joke about. I don't consider myself a comedian. I'm more a trauma queen, and I process what goes on with me by joking about it and trying to write about it and hopefully relating to people and what happens to them. And if that was taken away from me, I mean, it's like taking away part of my voice, part of how I deal with my healing, you know, as we all should be trying to find ways to do that doesn't hurt other people. And, you know, as a comic, I think a lot of us do that through our jokes. So when you know you can't do that because somebody is monitoring what you say or what you do or whatever, and you're like kind of muzzled, it could be detrimental for you, like just in your day-to-day and trying to be a person outside of being a comedian. So
I've had experience when that's happened to me, when you felt isolated and you felt really small and you felt like you were nothing, and that's destroyed someone's confidence. And I've experienced that. And it's not a nice feeling when you just want to go up on stage and just enjoy yourself. So that's why I've got this sense now where I don't want to worry what anyone else is doing. I just want to be me. People have said certain things I have done have been similar, like it's the same premise or concept as something else, but it's never the same. I remember having a joke that I had been doing for years, and quite an established comedian I've never seen before. I've never seen any of their shows. And then I was looking through TikTok during lockdown, and this clip popped up of this person, and it was like a set, and it was the exact same wording as mine. And I was like, okay, fine, I just won't do that joke anymore, because I don't want to feel like I'm the person that nicked that joke, especially because it's on TikTok and TV or whatever. But at the same time, I was like, I'm not pissed off because I've never seen that person's never seen me do stand-up. So it's just that we have the same mentality with a concept. So there are times where joke stealing can just be innocent, and it's no one's fault. You just got to be like, well, I'm not really committed to that joke, or if you're really committed to that joke, you have to contact that person.
Like I strive to be like unique and have a unique perspective that hopefully can be relatable to as many people as possible, like the being that is within all of us.
There's no rules, right? We don't have HR, we can't report somebody to their manager, we don't have that. So it is like we all have gentlemen's agreements with each other that, or in theory, right, where you can be inspired by other comics, but to blatantly rip off, like, who are you? And then I think that just gets around.
It is a business. You're making money. Or some people don't, but you will make money. Some people make money from it. Not everyone. Some people make money from it. Some people make a career out of it. And that's what people aspire to be like. Obviously, people see comedians who are considered to be new, like on Britain's Got Talent and those kind of shows, and like, oh, where did this person come from? Not realizing they've been grafting for like 15, 20 years on the circuit, and that was just the one opportunity they got to showcase.
But that's why when you kind of do create your art, it's so important for you to be able to have that be yours, you know? Because if you're not gonna be the person on TV or this or that and the other, at least you do this, half the payment is getting to actually do the thing. Like, at the end, you have to do it because you love it. If you do it because it's like a gateway to you being an actor or a TV presenter or getting pussy, like that's not the thing, you know? So, you know, that's just from somebody who's been doing this only 6 years, though. I'm sure it gets worse at like 20.
I mean, I don't know if I can say this, but I'm gonna say this. I don't know if I'm not gonna suck anyone's dick just to get a job. Like,
it really is a solo game. And even with an agent and manager and producer and PR team and all of those kinds of things, it is you on a ledge. And you have to go. And the only people who can offer you advice and help you along the way and say, oh, these are tips of how you do it, this is how you navigate it successfully, are the people who it's not in their interest to give you that information. So that information gets, you know, people are gatekeepers of that information because it's not in their interest for more people who are talented to be coming up behind them on their heels into those levels. I mean, if they're sure of themselves and all of that, Sure.
And comics can be some of the most triggered people on the face of the planet. Like, you think social justice warriors are triggered? No. Ask a comedian how they feel about their friend getting something they didn't even apply for, you know?
Every overnight success in comedy is like, what, 20 years in the making or something. There's no such thing. There's a couple of people here, I've noticed that much more over here, that have skyrocketed faster. And maybe that's where they get a fear as well of going, is my shit good enough?
Like, I don't know, but you know, I feel bad because it's weird. I have these very strong opinions, but I'm also like in this space of learning to, like, you know, I am you and you are me, and like, you know, come from a place of love. But then when I hear somebody do the same like type of joke, like my favorite dating app is like, you know, Uber Eats.
You're just following the herd of sheep. You're in the herd of sheep. Yeah. And you're following that one big old sheep at the end. Yeah. And you're like, I'm gonna be that sheep. I want to look at that sheep. And then what happens when that sheep decides it wants to die? It's fur. I
also don't think there's sort of one way to make it in comedy, because comedians are so diverse and they can do things like TikTok, podcasting, hosting, live shows, TV, radio, like, and they're all talented writers. And so they can also be writing things, helping other people, punching up writers' rooms. So there isn't really one way to do it. And I think that's what's so cool about comedy, is that it just opens up, the people who do it are so multi-talented. I mean, it sounds like a fucking flex, but it's not. I mean, it is, but it's not. But it's like, because you have to be so talented in a variety of ways.
Well, for me, it's about like up there, and that's why like that thing that we do feels like really important. So it's hard when the idea that somebody's going to take something I do, though I don't know if you've seen my material, but I don't think that's possible. And it's seriously a problem, isn't it? Did everybody else sit here quietly and patiently? No one.